prayers. Almighty God, who in your infinite wisdom and providential goodness have appointed the officers of leaders and parliaments for the welfare of society and the just government of humanity, we beseech you to look upon with your abundant favor these your servants, whom you have been pleased to call to the performance of such important trusts in this land. Let your blessing descend upon them here assembled, and grant that they may, as in your presence, treat and consider all matters that shall come under their deliberation in so just and faithful a manner as to promote your honor and glory, and to advance the good of those whose interests you have committed to their charge. Amen.
Amen. Item number 2 of the order paper, communication from the chair.
Honourable members, I welcome you to this afternoon's sitting. In the gallery, we have pupils and teachers of Gombe Junior School, Wakiso, represented by Honourable Seninde and Honourable Seguna. Can you stand up? I don't know where you are. Those are children from Gombe. You're welcome. We also have teachers and students from Seta Junior School in Mukono. Seta, I don't know where they are. Seta, these are Seta. Represented by Honourable Chibule. And is this a municipality? And Peace Kusasira. You're welcome. We also have students from Uganda Matters University in Mpigi. These are represented by Honorable Rubiai, John Bosco, Honorable Temuranda. You're welcome. But I think our people should be better at record keeping. There's a big stuff. Now, Honourable members, well, just to update you, this morning I was invited to officiate at the launch of the 6th Rotary Cancer Run 2017 at Nsambia Hospital. And Parliament has been, for the last 4 years, partnering with the Rotary to enhance health. Now, we have constructed a cancer ward there, and went to visit it this morning. Now, following the various runs to raise money, some partners in the US have donated a linear accelerator. We were talking about this yesterday, which is valued at $4 million. It will be used to treat all organs of the body. But in order to receive that linear accelerator, we're required to construct a bunker at a cost of $1 million. That's approximately 3.7 billion shillings. I want to appeal to members of Parliament for us to each contribute 1 million shillings so that we can raise 449 million to support this cause. It's important this particular year because for the second time in the history of Africa, we have a Rotary president from Uganda, Rotarian Sam Owori. So I think we need to support him. So I want to appeal to members that we can stagger it, but so that we can also make an impact on that issue, so that we support our people while waiting for Dr. Moriko and her machines. Mr. Sam Owori has also requested us to establish Rotary clubs in our towns. There are over 100 Rotary clubs, but 50 are in Uganda, in Kampala. So the rest of the country has a shortage. He's requesting that we do the needful, establish those clubs, and he's ready to come here to speak to us about formation of Rotary clubs in our towns. I will also amend the order paper to permit a motion on the protection of the rights of the children to be moved by members of the Parliamentary Forum for Children in this House. Thank you very much. Item 3. Where is Atwaire? She's not here. Zogu? Not here. Akol. 2 minutes, please.
Right, Honourable Speaker, arise on matter of national importance
And it is almost in line with the problem that we were discussing on the floor of Parliament last week, where our people were killed in Apa. And similarly, we have had information from those who come from Acholi sub-region and are working in West Nile, whereby they are threatening their lives that they are going to be killed if they don't leave their offices where they're working. Particularly, it is happening in the offices of the NGOs. And I have two that are printed. One is from Adjumani, one from Yumba district. The one from Adjumani reads, last warning, and if you do not leave. And they gave the names of 11 people who are Acholi. And then they said, we shall start the devil mission of serial killing, and bulk of coffins shall flow to Acholi. I laid this on the floor of Parliament, on the table. And then the second one was pinned in Yumbe, in the office of the Window Trust. What the Acholi people are doing to innocent children of Aringa is reminding us of 1979 war, in which Acholi boys killed over 1,000 plus Aringa people. You know what? We shall kill all of you. And then the people who are now living in the West Nile are in fear, to the extent that, information?
No, please, don't abuse the rules.
To the extent that they cannot speak the language Acholi. And unfortunately, when you are speaking Acholi or Langi or Alur, a person who doesn't speak your language can never understand. That means it is a threat to the Luo-speaking people, and it is unfortunate in Uganda at this point, whereby this kind of things start happening. And this is a serious warning sign that I thought is important to bring on the floor of Parliament, so that our government should investigate, and secondly, for the security of those working in West Nile that have been mentioned in this threat that is coming out. Thank you, Honourable Speaker.
Honourable members, that matter is similar to the one which came in from Bunyoro, and we asked the Minister for Security to examine the situation and give us a report. Similarly, I'm sending that issue to the Minister for Security to investigate and come back to us. Thank you. Honourable Atwaire, you had a matter of national importance.
Madam Speaker.
I postponed her issue to today. Honourable Atwaire.
Thank you, Right Honourable Speaker. I rise here to raise an important issue on registering the learners in the districts. 2 weeks ago, I was in Shema doing my taproot consultative meetings, and I happened to be a guardian of 2 children that I'm paying school fees for, so I went to register them. But on 2 occasions, the NIRA people didn't turn up. I went the first day, the second day they didn't turn up. And I saw parents who were complaining they don't have, that their children are not in school. So those ones, they don't know how their children are going to be registered. Then secondly was the problem of single parents, the ones that have lost their husbands, the ones that have children with men, but the men are not there. So those ones can also not register these learners. So it's a big problem, Right Honourable Madam Speaker. And also there were some parents who are complaining who have children who are between 15 years and 16 years. Those ones, they don't have anywhere they fall. So I don't know, I went to the district and talked to the officials. They also don't have answers. Thank you so much, Right Honourable Speaker.
Okay, honourable members.
Madam Speaker,
I recall.
can I add something, Madam Speaker?
On NIRA?
Yeah.
Okay, Honourable Kakoti.
Madam Speaker, you remember when we were passing the law to register people, and we gave authority to NIRA. But what's happened? NIRA doesn't have the capacity. And when they came in, we stopped the registration of death, birth, and it's very, 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 very terrible. Now when you go for registration, it's even worse. These people don't have the capacity. we need the Minister of Internal Affairs to tell us, since these people began, what is the performance, so that we know the problem. Because what is happening, Madam Speaker, even registering death to get a death certificate from the villages, from areas, so that you can get letters of administration in judiciary. You cannot, these people cannot. I think we need to request the Minister of Internal Affairs to come with a comprehensive report to tell us the performance now, so that we get a long-lasting solution. But what is happening on the ground, NIRA doesn't have the capacity, it's stretched. Either we go back to URBS because they were faster, or we take another solution.
Now, honour members, if you remember when we were opening the sitting last Tuesday, these are the very issues I talked about. I said I want the government to tell us how the August 30th deadline will operate, how children who are between 17 and 12 who are not eligible for IDs and have phones will be registered. And you know, we had a debate here about the school registration. We had a long debate here, and we were told that's already set, money is there. But now, what do you do with the village children? They are not in school. What do we do? And I think we really must get a statement. You remember, this is where skirmish we had over SIM cards. It's because no one is telling us anything. No one has ever come here to tell us what is happening. Minister of Internal Affairs. You know what we're harassing, but he's only one of the parties. The main driver is NIRA. And NIRA is under the Ministry of Internal Affairs. So, yes, Honorable Chief Whip.
Thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker. This is just to confirm to you, Madam Speaker, that I communicated to the relevant minister and we expect a statement. What I didn't do was to give him a time frame, but I reminded him of the deadline of 30th August. I raised to him the issues you raised regarding those who lost their national identity cards,
and must come
who
to
are
Kampala.
being told to come to Kampala. I told him about the 14 years and below, and I expect a statement on the progress to be brought here to the House.
But Honorable Twile said something which bothered me, that the single parents are not allowed to register their children. Is that true? Is that true? Yes. Why? Suppose somebody is dead. What do you do?
That really surpasses human understanding. And I'm going to take it up, Right Honorable.
Okay. Thank you. You wanted to close on the issue raised by Honorable Bakol?
Yeah, thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. The issue that my brother, Honorable Bakol, has just raised is a very important issue, which I would like to plead through your office for Ministry of Internal Affairs to act on swiftly, because it raises tension, and the two regions, West Nile and Acholi, at the moment are at tension, and more especially the innocent ones. The reason why I've risen here is to make a clarification on the matter he has raised, generalizing West Nile, because I have a huge community of Acholi. Actually, let me say, of all ethnicities, including the Acholis. So when he says West Nile, you will find the Acholis who are settled in Arua getting alarmed. Acholis who are settled in Nebi and the other 8 districts in West Nile. So it will be important that this issue focuses on Adjumani, which is the epicenter of where this situation has happened before, and also Yumbe, which has now come on board, so that those investigating can focus on those 2 districts, and then we can find a lasting solution. I thank you.
Now this is going to turn into the Acholi versus the West Nilers. We have asked the Minister for Security to investigate the matter and report to us. We have asked the minister to, because each of you is going to speak from your position, from your side. Eh? Okay, Dr. Moriko. Yes. 1 minute.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I stand just to give information. What I want to say is that what the Honorable Member of Parliament, Honorable Akola, has raised is really needs a lot of work, which to some extent is true, because on 21st of this month, while I was in Adjumani, there was a cylinder gas. People who are repairing motorcycles and bicycles. It was really an accident. But when that thing occurred and it blasted, and unfortunately, 2 people were injured. One was seriously, the leg was cut off and the arm. So that person was taken to Lacho, unfortunately on the way died. So what rumors was in Adjumani was that this cylinder gas was from actually Acholi land. It took me to go there and to get the real information and tell the people, no, this cylinder gas has been here. And this is a really accident. So, Madam Speaker, what I'm saying, there is a lot of mistrust between the 2 communities on both sides. So probably, for sure, there is need for the internal affair to do investigation. There is need for really healing, reconciliation, and really coming together from us, the leaders, and as well as other peacemakers. Otherwise, people are already having a lot of mistrust in the 2 communities. This is the information I want to give. Thank you.
Okay, Honorable, it seems you are also on fire. I don't know from which side now, the Acholi side or the...
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. I'm an elder and the mother of this nation, so I tend to trail in the middle for peace. Madam Speaker, I had wanted actually even to give information that we are looking towards having peace to prevail in the 2 communities. But out there, Madam Speaker, there are people who have a lot of information. First of all, the tension is that there's no suspect being arrested and is escalating the situation. So the Minister of Internal Affairs should beef up this so that suspects come out, and then those who have information, which actually are reaching some of us, others want us to bring them to you. First of all, they need their security as they give that information, but they want the information to reach the government so that action is taken. But as per now, there's no action, there's no arrest, there's no avenue for those people to give the available information. So they pass to us secretly. We have a lot of it. Those who are making arrows, those who are doing what. But now how to push it or even bring the very people to speak for themselves is what we want so that peace prevails. I thank you, Madam Speaker.
Okay, honourable members, we don't want another situation like Apa. So again, I reiterate the direct instructions to the Minister of Security, the Minister of Internal Affairs, to work expeditiously on this issue. I think we give you a fortnight. We don't want to give you too much time because this situation is quite bad. Where the whip is here. Unazogo 2 minutes and then Ruhunda 2 minutes.
Thank you, Right Honourable Speaker. Right Honourable Speaker, in 2014-2015, the 9th Parliament passed a number of districts that will take effect from 1st July 2017, and these included Bunyangabu district, which was carved out of Kawarole. It also included Ruchiga, which was carved out of Kabale. So included Chotera, which was carved out of Rakai, Utebo, which was carved out of Palisa, Pakwach, which was carved out of Nebi, and Namisindwa, which was carved out of Manafa. Now, Right Honourable Speaker, the unfortunate bit of this whole scenario is that the Electoral Commission has written to one of these districts that are supposed to take effect from 1st of July 2017. And I want to read verbatim, Right Honorable Speaker, the letter which the Electoral Commission wrote to Kabarole District Local Government Chief Administrative Officer. It was written on the 14th of June 2017, and the subject is recreation of Nyangabu District. As you are aware, government created a new district of Nyangabu out of Kabarole district to take effect 1st July 2017. In Section 8, Section 5C of the Parliamentary Elections Act requires the Electoral Commission to conduct the election of district woman representative to Parliament within 60 days after creation of the new district. The Local Government Act similarly provides under Part 10 for election of district chairperson. Section 182 of the Local Government Act, Cap 243, however, provides for elections of interim chairperson in newly created local government and enjoins the Commission to preside over the elections. The purpose of this letter, therefore, is to inform you that the Commission will, on a date to be communicated in the near future, conduct elections for interim chairperson for Nyangabu District. The Commission will, however, not be in a position to conduct the universal adult suffrage elections for district woman representative to Parliament and also district chairperson due to non-availability of funds in the approved budget for the financial year 2017-2018. This is therefore to request you to put this information to the attention of all stakeholders. Signed, Sam Erakojo, Secretary, Electoral Commission. Now, Right Honorable Speaker, why I'm raising this matter is that the Parliament, the 9th Parliament, actually had to face the time under which the various districts would start. And I recall the ones that were supposed to start 1st July of 2016, Right Honorable Speaker, elections were conducted there. One of them was Rubanda for both LOC5 and also district woman representative. Now, given that even those ones started in 2016, 2017, why is it that the voters, the population of these affected districts are being disenfranchised? Two, why hasn't the Minister of Local Government come here to address Parliament on what is transpiring? Instead of having double standards, you conduct elections for 2016, 2017, and you say there is no money for 2017, 2018. Finally, Right Honorable Speaker, the people of these districts are actually preparing to take government to court. I don't know whether it will be palatable for government to be taken to court, and they could be actually forced to pay costs which could even be beyond conducting elections. So, Right Honorable Speaker, the issue of contention is, why is government undertaking double standards?
Now, honourable members, this matter is very sensitive and it needs to be addressed. It is also similar to what Honourable Mutonyi moved here in motion. It has also to do with the elections in the new districts. And our Committee on Local Government is probably not constituted, but we may have to probably suspend part of the rules to address that issue. But I think it's important that the minister comes to tell us about this, because elections are a public right. You cannot just, today you give it, tomorrow you don't give it. Based on what? You give the Rwanda, you don't give the Banyangabo? Yes, Honorable Augusta.
Right Honorable Speaker, I thought I could give my legal opinion, though I'm not representing government. Social and political rights are supposed to be enjoyed progressively. And the test is availability of resources. And that is a jus cogens. It is an internationally acceptable norm. So when you allege or you claim a social political right, then the burden shifts to you to prove before court. And actually, my brother, Mombere, you will need now to prove before. No, I'm not saying you are the Mombere. So
Order. Order.
Point of
Order.
Order.
Thank you, Right Honourable Speaker. Right Honourable Speaker, the Honourable colleague is actually mistaking me for the name of my king. Yes, my names are well known. I even don't have name actually called Mumbere. Is the honourable member in order to mislead the House that actually my name is Mumbere and yet I've never been named Mumbere since my childhood?
No, it's out of order. But on a serious note, Honorable Augusta, you know, you people should not just think theory. Even this one, people will take us to court for failure to conduct elections. You can't that if you don't have money, you just go to court. Those are theoretical things. Why did we agree to create the districts? And then we allow some to come, and then we don't allow others.
Right Honourable Speaker, I concur with your findings, but you know, at times it is important, Right Honourable Speaker, that we get to know and to distinguish between politics and the interpretation attack to politics. Thank you very much.
Procedure. Right Honourable Speaker.
I'm glad you are not the Attorney General. Now, Honourable, the Minister of Local Government is not here. What is going? Is it true that Bunyangabo will not elect? The districts which are coming in will not elect? No, not finance. We want to know from the parent ministry. Shall we have elections or we should forget? No one to answer. Honorable Mutonyi. Mutonyi, then the government chief whip.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. This issue has taken me unawares about the letter, but at the end of May, on the 29th, Electoral Commission wrote to those districts requesting the chairpersons and the representatives of the youth and the women MPs to take their choices, whether they were remaining in the original or going to the new districts. Now, were they not cooperating? Why is one saying no elections, another one is going ahead to make arrangements and then turns around to say we are unable? People are already in top gear and they are preparing even bulls to slaughter, welcoming the new districts. Now, Madam Speaker, please.
Let me ask the government chief whip to give us some way forward.
I know.
The Minister of Local Government?
I know that Honorable Jennifer Namnyangu is the Minister of State for Local Government. But the issue is multi-sectoral. It is not only local government issue. Electoral Commission is not under local government, right? It is under Ministry of Justice and Constitutional Affairs. That's why I am standing up as a person who oversees the sectors in government. Okay? Madam Speaker, Mr. Sambro Akojo, as a staff of the Electoral Commission, stated from the background information given to him by the Minister of Finance The role of Electoral Commission is to organize elections. So Electoral Commission should be the happiest if elections are organized. Local government should be the happiest if the local governments are happy and LOC1 elections are held out and the districts are happy. But the issue is that we have to take a decision to see where we get money and carry out these elections. The fact is that Electoral Commission was told that there was no money. And that's what they communicated.
But, Honorable Government Chief, if the Electoral Commission was told, when would the country be told? Why haven't you informed the country that you people who are organizing cows and goats for celebration, there are no election? Why are you letting people organize themselves and campaign and this and that? Yes. I think we deserve an explanation.
Thank you very much for your guidance, Right Honorable Speaker. There you have caught us on off. Because by a mere letter from Honorable Rwakojo does not satisfy the country. We need to give a statement so that the people who are concerned get acquainted with the situation. So I will communicate to the relevant minister so that a serious statement is given out, but we have to look for the money because we created these administrative units after being convinced that we need them.
Clarification.
No, there's no clarification. We just want, I think, let the government come out and tell us whether elections will be conducted or not, so that the country knows. People don't get ready, they don't go organize chicken. Yes. Honorable Hunda. Can we have it next week? Government Chief Whip, can we have a statement on Tuesday? Because the local governments are taking effect on the 1st. They're taking effect on the 1st and people are waiting. Yes. Honorable Hunda.
Thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker. I stand to raise a matter of national importance. Right Honorable Speaker, in the 9th Parliament, I presented a petition on behalf of the state prosecutors about their salaries. Right Honorable Speaker, in that petition, it was made very clear that the state prosecutors for a very long time have not been considered during the increment of salaries, especially in the judiciary. And as we speak now, Right Honorable Speaker, they are threatening to go on strike. And this in itself is going to paralyze the entire national work and even cause our security a big problem. Right Honorable Speaker, when you look at the conditions under which the state prosecutors operate, we really, as a parliament and government, we must really take into consideration their plight, given the fact that quite a number of them have even lost their lives offering a service to this country. I do not know why, Right Honorable Speaker, even after the petition on increment of the salaries of the state prosecutors, the government has kept silent. Can we get an explanation why, up to this point, the matters of the state prosecutors are not taken into consideration, and yet you are busy creating districts that you are failing even to manage? You can even see the crisis you are causing in the country. All these districts which are unviable, you are just creating them every day. You can't even pay the state prosecutors who are busy doing work that keep this country going. So we need an explanation, Right Honorable Speaker.
Thank you. Honourable members, On the judiciary? Yes, Deputy Prime Minister.
Right Honorable Speaker and the Right Honorable, the member who has stood up to raise this issue. Fortunately, yesterday, Cabinet occupied itself on that issue, and the minister responsible for justice briefed us how far he's gone. It was decided that within 2 weeks, because they are part of the general civil service system, which must be on the ground, satisfied for government to function and the country to move ahead. They were bringing a comprehensive position paper to be considered by Parliament, by Cabinet, and the state prosecutor will also be part of that. So will be part of the solution that will be reached in 2 weeks.
Okay, thank you. Item 3. Oh, Zake. Yes, Honorable Zake. 2 minutes, please.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. I rise on the matter of national importance, and this is about the conduct or behavior of one of our members here in this August House. That's Engineer Biandala Abraham, representing Katikamu, and on several occasions is being seen, evidenced, fighting journalists. The first time he did that at the constitutional and corruption court at Kororo, in Kororo, and he fought a young girl, Judith Nalugwa. He pinched her after he boxed her in the abdomen, this downer abdomen. And you know what it means to a lady? This downer part on the stomach down. I know you're understanding the issue.
Order.
And then the second time, this is so recent, on Tuesday, this very week, last Tuesday, still at the same venue. This time, he boxed an NTV cameraman, and that is by the names of Dennis Kabungo. And this was seen, this was on NTV, actually yesterday. He did the same thing as he did to the other young girl. So, Madam Speaker, I think there are rules of codes of conduct, the way we are supposed to behave out of this parliament, even inside this parliament. To me, I see something must be done, Madam Speaker, because this is becoming he's repeating it continuously. And whenever they report to police, nothing is done, they just tell the journalists that we shall investigate this issue. All the time, it is under investigation, yet something is being seen live. Madam Speaker, I beg something should be done to this member or taken to the Rules Committee. That's my prayer, Madam Speaker, because now we shall see other members doing the same. This is real.
Okay.
Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Okay, honourable members, we shall examine the rules of procedure and see, because the incident did not occur here, we need to establish how we can come in, and we shall give you an update on that issue. 2 minutes, 2 minutes. Honourable Seke, quickly.
Thank you, Right Honourable Speaker.
Yes, quickly.
Madam Speaker, I'm standing on the issue of national importance concerning the works on Tirinyi Mbale Road. Madam Speaker, the President on 2nd May issued an executive order stopping the services of DOT on Mbale Road. On the 9th of May, the Executive Director UNRA stopped the services of DOT company which was working on Mbale Road. Then on the 29th May, the President issued another executive order revoking the first executive order, withdrawing it from, on the 22nd June, the Attorney General withdrew the executive order. When you move to Mbale, that road is in a poor state. Now that they have withdrawn the executive order, we want to know from our government when the works will resume on this road. Thank you.
Thank you. I hope the minister is listening. We shall give you time to give us an update. That road is an important gateway to the east, and people need to move. So you'll give us an update. Now, item 3.
Item 3 on the order paper, bills first reading.
Minister of Finance.
Madam Speaker and honorable colleagues, I beg to move that the bill entitled the Supplementary Appropriation Bill 2017 be read for the first time.
Seconded? Yes, seconded.
The Supplementary Appropriation Bill 2017.
Honourable members, the Committee of Finance and Planning will examine it and give us an update. Oh, budget. It's budget. Yeah. Budget Committee. Item 4.
Item 4, laying of papers. Item 4A.
Minister of Internal Affairs. 4B.
Item 4B.
Minister of Internal Affairs. Item 5.
Item 5. Ministerial statements.
Minister of Health.
Item 5A.
If you could just use 10 minutes, please.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Right Honorable Speaker, I stand here to give a statement to the Parliament on an update and roadmap for the restoration of radiotherapy services in the country. Right Honorable Speaker and honorable colleagues, following the breakdown of the radiotherapy teletherapy machine at Uganda Cancer Institute at Mulago last year in March, the Ministry of Health invited the International Atomic Energy Agency to assess the old bunker's suitability in order to house the new cobalt machine, because this was identified as the quickest way to restore the services as opposed to the process which will require the completion of the new bunker. Madam Speaker, in May 2016, the International Atomic Energy Agency sent a mission that assessed the old bunker and made recommendations to the Ministry of Health to the effect that the old bunker needed to be refurbished and new air condition fitted in order to be ready to receive a new cobalt machine and the source for the teleradiotherapy. Right Honorable Speaker, the Ministry of Health, following that visit, contracted Arab contractors to refurbish the old bunker. And the refurbishment of the old radiotherapy bunker was completed this year in April. Madam Speaker, following the completion of the old bunker, final inspection of the bunker by the Atomic Energy Council to assess its readiness to receive the radiotherapy machine as per the recommendations of International Atomic Energy Agency was carried out this year in May. And following that inspection, the International Atomic Energy Council was informed by the Atomic Energy Council that the bunker was ready. Then, Right Honorable Speaker, the International Atomic Energy Agency authorized the manufacturer to ship the machine as well as the shoes. Then the machine was shipped and the ship was set off last week. Madam Speaker, the machine is expected at Mombasa Port on 28th of July. Madam Speaker, indeed, the machine set off last week and is expected at Mombasa Port on 28th of July, which was yesterday. Sorry, July.
Not yet.
This is June.
We are not yet there.
Sorry. The machine is expected to be at Mombasa Port next month on 28th. Then the machine is expected in Kampala here at Uganda Cancer Institute in the first week of August. Right Honorable Speaker, the installation will then commence, and it is anticipated that it will take 4 to 6 weeks if all goes well. And following the successful installation, colleagues, acceptance test will be carried out for 1 week by International Atomic Energy Agency. Right Honorable Speaker, after the acceptance tests are completed, the commissioning process will then commence. Colleagues, this will involve the visit and assessment of the machine by 4 International Atomic Energy Agency missions before it is fully commissioned for clinical usage. And a team comprising of International Atomic Energy Council, radiation therapy, clinician, medical physician, and radiation oncologist will come to assess the safety of the newly installed machine. Right Honorable Speaker, the Uganda Cancer Institute radiation team will be required to radiate a set of specific thermal luminescent dosimeters, which will then be sent for auditing purposes to the International Atomic Energy Agency in the final assessment of the safety and efficacy of the machine. Madam Speaker, authorization to possess the nuclear has been requested from Atomic Energy Council, which we are waiting for. And the commissioning and service re-establishment is expected to be completed by the first week of November this year. Right Honorable Speaker, the full use in terms of clinical usage of the radiotherapy machine will therefore commence in the first week of November. Madam Speaker, as far as the new radiotherapy bunker is concerned, construction work for the new radiotherapy bunker is ongoing. I thank you and I beg to move.
Okay, honourable members, this is work in progress. I think what we require as a house is that in the first week of August, you report to this house that the machine has arrived in Uganda. Then after that we can talk. So, first week of August is now a government assurance. First week of August, members of the Health Committee. Okay, next item. 5B. Honorable Karubanga.
Madam Speaker and honorable colleagues, I stand here to give a statement on the delay of salary payments for public officers arising out of a question raised by Honorable Margaret Rabshija during the Prime Minister's time on the 10th May of 2017. Madam Speaker, Section B, capital A to 9 of the Uganda Public Service Standing Orders stipulates that salaries for public officers shall be paid monthly by the 28th of every month. Despite this statutory requirement, some ministries, departments, agencies, and local governments have on several occasions not paid salary and pension by that date. This statement covers challenges facing the payroll process and payment and short and long-term strategies instituted by the Ministry of Public Service to address those challenges. Salary processing and payment were decentralized to the respective votes. That was way back in 2014, and that was aimed at bringing services closer, reducing processing time, and proper identification of employees for elimination of ghosts. This has improved ownership of and accountability of the payroll, the records, and the payments made. Madam Speaker, we have, however, encountered a number of challenges, and these are the delay in payment of salary payments beyond the statutory provided date of 28th March, which has been occasioned by late completion of payroll data capture, finalization, and calculation process, and sometimes on the laxity on the part of different players in the salary payment process. Inadequate funds for payment of salary by the respective MDAs being occasioned by poor budgeting by those votes. Lack of funds leads to no or delayed payments. A case in point is where Kitgum, Kotido, and Nakasongola district local governments in April this year, then Kitgum Municipal Council and Mitiana district local governments in the month of May this year, Kitgum Municipal Council paid May salary in June 2017. A possible cause of wage shortages is payment of salary and pension outside the integrated personnel and payment and payroll system. That is the IPPS, which we use to process payments. Madam Speaker, we also have inconsistent employee data in the IPPS vis-a-vis the payment information on the INFMIS. The IPPS system is in the Ministry of Local Government, rather of Public Service, and the INFMIS system is in the Ministry of Finance. For example, 57 employees of Rwanda District Local Government, which has been established, they shared supplier numbers on the IFMIS, which caused some of them to miss salary in the month of April and May. The Ministry of Public Service authorized the districts to pay these salaries, and of course this one affected the employees in that local government. Rwanda has promised to clean up the master data for the IPPS and IFMIS to correct the anomalies with the supplier numbers. Madam Speaker, the movement of staff from a parent vote after another vote has been created also causes this. That one requires realignment of the payroll records from the mother vote to the newly created vote. In some cases, both the new and old vote claim the same personnel. E.g. Nansana Municipal Council and Wakiso District Local Government have both claimed the employees to belong to them. The Ministry of Public Service asked the two entities to sit and harmonize on which employees the Ministry of Public Service asked the two entities, the two local governments, to harmonize the ownership of those employees. This affects wage utilization by either vote. In Rwanda district, for example, some employees had their salary stopped by Kabale district local government, and after separation of the two districts, that's when we realized that the employees have taken long to be accessed on the payroll by Rwanda district local government. In one of the issues, Rwanda district local government has committed, it is one of the issues Rwanda district local government has committed to resolve in June, which is ending, and July 2017, as elaborated. Madam Speaker, over deductions of loans and other recoveries from the payroll by the respective votes also causes this. Some MDAs and local governments effect deductions from the employees, pay beyond the 50% statutory cap of the basic pay, and this condition is tagged on the payment system. So the IPPS, which was configured once the deduction goes beyond 50% of the salary payment, automatically doesn't consider that record. So that one has led some officers missing their salary payments for some months. Madam Speaker, we have short and long strategies of addressing those challenges, and one is to address the delays in payment of salaries. The ministry has issued guidelines. It issued guidelines in March 2017 with clear timelines at each stage of the salary payment process. And we have, we revised the payment, the salary payment process, whereby different entities have to submit their reports or their entries by different dates. Madam Speaker, the processing of human resource data, entry forms, data capture and approval is the responsibility of the votes, and it's supposed to be between the 20th of the previous month and the 6th of the pay month. Salary pension, payment and calculation, finalizing and batching is supposed to be the responsibility of the Ministry of Public Service, and it's supposed to be between the 7th and 10th of the pay month. Submission and uploading of payment files for each vote to the Ministry of Finance, Planning and Economic Development interface is supposed to be the responsibility of our Ministry of Public Service, and that one is supposed to be done by the 10th of the pay month. Generation of salary and pension payment invoices and uploading into IFMIS is supposed to be done by the respective votes, and that one is supposed to be between the 11th and the 15th of the pay month. The final one, which is the submission of payment instructions to Bank of Uganda for clearance and crediting bank accounts, is the responsibility of the Ministry of Finance, Planning and Economic Development, and supposed to be done on the 28th of the pay month. So that by Madam Speaker, supposed to be done by the 20th of every month, so that by the 28th, which is the statutory date, all votes, all civil servants have got their pay. Another strategy, Madam Speaker, is that the Ministry of Public Service and the Ministry of Finance, they are jointly monitoring wage budgeting, wage utilization, and performance to ensure that recruitment and salary payment are within the approved wage budget. The Ministry of Public Service has also emphasized that the government policy of paying salary strictly through the IPPS system, and that is in the guidelines for the management of wage, payroll, and pension, which is for financial year 2017-18. And for that note, we issued an establishment notice number 1 of 2017. Madam Speaker, the long-term strategy of the Ministry of Public Service is where our ministry is in the process of developing a government-wide human capital management system which will effectively and seamlessly integrate with the Ministry of Finance payment system, the IFMIS. That will facilitate automated export of payment information to IFMIS and eradicate issues of inconsistent employee information against payment data. The implementation of that human capital management system is planned and was budgeted for in this financial year 2017-18. Madam Speaker, in conclusion, the Ministry of Public Service is in the last 1 year, it has undertaken massive reforms in payment and in payroll administration, whose outcomes point to a bright future for the public service. I urge all colleagues to support our continuous initiatives. I beg to submit.
Thank you very much. Honourable members, this was a specific question relating to Rwanda. I don't know whether the member has a supplementary. If there is none, we note the information and a follow-up later with the minister in case there are other anomalies. Next item.
Item 5C.
Minister of Works.
Madam Speaker and honorable colleagues, I'm here to make a statement on the update of mandatory and periodic motor vehicle inspection services. Right Honorable Speaker, the mission of my ministry is to promote adequate, safe, and well-maintained transport infrastructure and services for socio-economic development of Uganda. The ministry fulfills part of this mission through implementation of the provisions of the Traffic and Road Safety Act 1998. Mandatory inspection of motor vehicles is one of the tools being used to fulfill this mission and implement the Act. Madam Speaker, compulsory inspection of vehicles was previously carried out as a condition for renewal of road licenses under statutory instrument 361(7), the Traffic and Road Safety Vehicle Test Regulations of 1970. It was being conducted under delegated authority from the Ministry of Works and Transport by Uganda Police until 1998. A new statutory instrument, number 51 of 2016, the Traffic and Road Safety Motor Vehicle Inspection Regulations 2016, was issued and published in the Gazette on 15th of July 2016 to reinitiate the exercise. The privatization of motor vehicle inspection was also part of the National Road Safety Policy, which was approved by Cabinet in 2014. Right Honorable Speaker, the contracting of an international firm was a result of an open international bidding process provided for under Section 81A of the amended PPDA Act 2003. This method is open to both domestic and international firms, competing on equal terms in order to attract firms with the necessary experience and expertise. The construction of all the stations has been and is being undertaken by Ugandans, and over 99% of the employees are Ugandan. However, after recovery of their investment, the ministry will advertise for local providers of the same services after successful transfer of knowledge, skills, and expertise. Currently, Right Honorable Speaker, SGS, the international firm mentioned earlier, has acquired land in Kawanda on Bombo Road, Nabingo on Masaka Road, Namulanda on Entebbe Road, Namanve on Jinja Road, in Imbale, Gulu, and Imbarara, on which to construct and install equipment for motor vehicle inspection. The status of the construction of the different stations is as follows. In Kawanda, which is on Bombo Road, the construction was completed and the station was opened on the 28th of November 2016. And in that place, all vehicle categories are inspected. Nabingo, which is on Masaka Road, was also completed and it was opened on the 3rd of May 2017. And inspections are only for light vehicles up to 3.5 tons. In Namlanda, the station was completed and opened on the 31st of May 2017, and inspections are only for light vehicles also up to 3.5 tons. In Namanve, the construction is still under progress, stands at 45%, and at this station, there will be inspection of all categories of vehicles. In Imbale town, which is also under construction, the progress is 90%. All categories of vehicles will be inspected. In Imbarara, the construction is ongoing. It is at 25% progress, and all categories of vehicles will be inspected. In Gulu, which is also under construction, there is little progress, which is at 5%. Inspection will be for all categories of vehicles. On top of that, 3 mobile units were imported, and 2 of them have been set up at Nambole parking yard as we wait for completion for Namanve station. The 3rd one is currently stationed in Lugazi at the request of SCAO, that is the Sugar Corporation of Uganda. The mobile stations are designed to inspect all types of vehicles, and they will traverse the countryside to conduct inspection in areas with sparse vehicle populations. That means in the areas also where there are no stations, the mobile vehicles will go there, the mobile stations. The inspection process is automated with no human subjectivity. And the items which are very critical to road safety being inspected include the following, 7 of them: brakes, wheel alignment, headlamps, suspension, steering wheel alignment, exhaust smoke, and signaling lights. Right Honorable Speaker, almost 1,500 road accidents annually are attributed to poor condition of vehicles, and we believe this inspection exercise will reverse this trend. 1,500 road accidents annually are not acceptable to Uganda. Right Honorable Speaker, the provision of a motor vehicle inspection service was conceived and was tendered out as a build, own, and operate type of public-private partnership, PPP. The fees being charged for inspection are for direct and financial costs of investment, for overheads, for profit, for concession fees, and value-added tax. Right Honorable Speaker, out of the fees that I paid, we get concession, Uganda gets concession fees of 10% of gross, and it goes straight into the consolidated fund. And also 18% of the gross is also goes straight into the consolidated fund as value-added tax. In addition to the PPDA Act, this contracting arrangement is also legally provided for under Section 4D of the PPP Act 2015, which states, I quote, "Public-private partnership means a commercial transaction between a transacting authority and a private party, where the private party performs a function of the contracting authority on behalf of the contracting authority for a specialized period and receives a benefit for performing the function through payment by the contracting authority or charges or fees collected by the private party from the users of the infrastructure or service or both," unquote. Right Honorable Speaker, the contracting authority in this case is the Ministry of Works and Transport, and the private party is SGS. The statutory instrument, that was Regulation 23, and the contract for this service also stipulate that SGS would be subject to periodic audits, both internal and Auditor General, just like any other government department or project. Even as we talk, the internal audit is there in SGS. So the accounts and everything are open to audit, any kind of audit. The purpose of the audits is to establish revenues collected and level of investment recovered to inform contract implementation. Inspection, the deadline, Right Honorable Speaker, the requirement to have a certificate of fitness by every vehicle is an ongoing requirement for every vehicle to be on the road. And as we stated earlier, it is meant to reduce the number of accidents caused by vehicles in bad mechanical condition, which I already mentioned is over 1,500 accidents a year. It is therefore an offense if one drives a vehicle without a certificate issued by my ministry through SGS. Madam Speaker, compliance regulations is routinely enforced by the Uganda Traffic Police. A deadline cannot be put in place for such roadside enforcement. However, enforcement can either be initiated for a new regulation and or enhanced to both penalize and create awareness of traffic and road safety regulations among road users. My ministry, therefore, plans to initiate enforcement in phased and well-coordinated manner with Uganda Force. The first phase of enforcement will be to stop and caution and advise the motorists to go and get their vehicles inspected before anyone is penalized. Madam Speaker, if this happens, with effect from 1st July, the first phase of enforcement.
Order.
The first phase, Madam Speaker.
Order, members.
Madam Speaker, the idea.
Order. Hey.
The idea is that the first phase is for cautioning. Cautioning. Of course,
Order, members, you asked for this information, the minister is giving it to you, you don't want to listen. You wanted to hear? Here, please.
It is cautioning, Madam Speaker, and of course, after some time, we are going to educate the population, that if the cautioned vehicle is cautioned 3 times, definitely an action will be taken. The vehicle may be taken off the road. Yes, if you are cautioned, it means you are not. It means that you are not willing to be party of, to contribute to the safety of the roads. Right, Honourable Speaker, I would like to reiterate.
Order, Honourable members.
I would like to reiterate, Honourable Speaker, that the deadline does not exist because it would mislead the general public to believe that after that date, they should either park their vehicles or have them inspected first. In addition, it can't be like the SIM cards. In addition, a deadline would cause unnecessary congestion of the stations and compromise the quality of service that we intend to provide to the people of Uganda. It will also mean that on an annual basis, all certificates of fitness will expire at around the same time. Right, Honourable Speaker, this is not the intention of the exercise. The fees charged, inclusive of what, for the motorcycles is 54,752. For motor cars, that's per year. For motor cars and dual purpose vehicles excluding light goods, that is the purpose for car and dual purpose vehicles, it's 110,000. For the commercial vehicles, that is light omnibuses, right, Honourable Speaker, the passenger vehicles of more than 7 passengers, it's 122,000. For the medium omnibuses, the PSVs of more than 20 passengers, it is 59. For the heavy omnibuses, passenger vehicles of more than 60 passengers is 944 shillings. For light goods vehicles of less than 3.5 tons, it is 110,212. For medium goods and vehicles, the charge, that is all that is VAT inclusive, is 147,500. And for heavy goods vehicles that are more than 10 tons, it is 59,000 only. For trailers and semi-trailers, that is trailers of 2 axles, it is 19,706. And for each extra axle on a trailer, it is 944. Subsequent pays as a percentage of initial inspection fee. Right, Honourable Speaker, when a vehicle goes for inspection and fails the test, it is allowed to go and correct. And if you come back within 30 days after the initial failure, there is no charge. Re-inspections within 30 days after initial failure with use of lane is 50% of what you had paid. After 30 days of initial failure, 100%. and payment for duplicate certificate of fitness is 50%. Payment for appeal against results of inspection is 150%. Inspection after accident, stroke, crash, and repairs is 100%. Inspection required by police officer for a vehicle with valid certificate of fitness is 50%. An inspection required by police officer for a vehicle without a valid certificate of fitness is 100%. In conclusion, Right Honorable Speaker, it is important through you that this August House supports this program to reduce the road carnage.
Order, members, please.
To reduce the road carnage and air pollution in Uganda. The system will be implemented with due consideration to the Uganda vehicle fleet and its challenges. And my ministry is committed to ensuring that SGS implements a quality service with the highest level of integrity. I thank you. I beg to submit, Right Honorable Speaker.
Okay. Honourable Minister, I just want to know from you, is this a one-off? If I am inspected this year, I can drive for 3 years? If I'm inspected, honourable members, the minister said that it's not an annual activity, so I want to know, if I'm inspected in 2017, I can drive up to 2020 without another inspection?
Right Honorable Speaker, it is every year. It is every year. Right Honorable Speaker, if you allow me.
Order, wait, yes.
Right Honorable Speaker. Right Honorable Speaker, I made a quick calculation of the vehicles of the expenses that are being paid. For example, a station inspects 150 vehicles. At the moment, there are 3 stations working, and at this charge of 110 and working 6 days, the company makes 1.32 billion shillings, and that is gross. Out of that, in 1 month, out of that, 10% is paid to the consolidated fund, 18% is paid as VAT. They have to pay for their investment and the charges. Right Honorable Speaker, thank you.
Honourable Member, this matter was raised by Honourable Muyanja. Let me see if you have the supplementary before I get other people. Honourable Muyanja, quickly. I've seen it.
Procedure. Procedure, Madam Speaker. Procedure. Procedure, Madam Speaker.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker.
Procedure.
And the honorable members.
Procedure, Madam Speaker. Yeah. Procedure, Madam Speaker.
Honourable Nsogu.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. Right Honorable Speaker, you know that this House has 2 sides. It has the government side and also has the opposition side. And Right Honorable Speaker, in the circumstance that the Minister of Works has presented a statement to this effect, would it need to be procedural right Honorable Speaker, to give the alternative Minister of Works to also give this House the information that we have, so that when members debate, they can debate from an informed position?
Honourable members, the shadow minister did not notify me that he or she has a paper. No, he didn't tell me. I don't know what you have, but under our rules, the person who asked the question has the right to a supplementary. So that's what I'm enforcing for now. I will call you, but let's hear the person who raised the issue first.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. I want to thank the Honorable Minister for Works to coming up with a report. Right, Honorable Speaker and Honorable colleagues, when you look at the motor vehicle inspection mandatory arrangement, first we had the concerns of who are the owners, where does the money go that is charged? Because, right, Honorable Speaker, when I went to Uganda Revenue Authority database, we came up with a number of vehicles, private vehicles, not considering government, because in their document, they're also going to inspect government vehicles. The low figure we could get annually would go to 196 billion. Right, Honorable Speaker, as you hear the Honorable Minister here, I don't think has taken time to go to Kawanda and other centers like we have done in our report. Right, Honorable Speaker, because if you say 3rd of May 2017, Nabingo was completed, 31st of May 2017, Nakalanda was completed, Namulanda. And as we speak now, announcements and the threatment using police is ongoing on radio and the TV, announcing the deadline. Right, Honorable Speaker, I don't think the minister is fair to come here and tell us there is no deadline when there is total connivance of making the Ugandans to suffer, the innocent one. Right, Honorable Speaker, I did a research. I went to 12 police stations, including those of Masaka where accidents have taken place. The cause is not mechanical condition. All those are brand new vehicles. But the issue, right, Honorable Speaker and Honorable Members, is reckless driving, overspeeding, and now roads. So it is not true to come here and deceive this August House that the cause, I have the report loaded here, which shows the causes by reckless driving, drunkenness, overtaking.
Point of order.
I have a simple point of order, Right Honorable. In one of our rules, we refer to the language that we are supposed to use in the House. Language is like a member coming here to deceive. We've been guided to use languages like words like misinforming. Because you don't know whether you will be imputing ill motives into the minister. So is he therefore in order to use unparliamentary language like saying that my minister has come here to deceive the August House, and bearing in mind that we are covered live, I was uncomfortable by that word. I don't know whether he's in order.
Other members, the word deceive would impute an animus, as we say in law. It would be an intention. I don't think the minister has that intention, so tone down the language. Honorable Muyanja.
Most obliged, Right Honorable Speaker. The concern, Right Honorable Speaker, was to bring this information to the Honorable Minister.
Allow the Honorable Member to really allow him to speak.
I wanted to give him information.
Let him speak first, then
Information
you
on
can
the police report.
Police report?
Yes.
Allowed.
Yes.
Honorable Mukenya.
Thank you, Honorable Member, for giving way. Right Honorable Speaker, the information I want to give is from the Uganda Police Annual Crime and Road Safety Report 2015. Causes of accidents. Human error, 81%. Road conditions, 0.8%. Weather, 0.5%. Vehicle conditions, brake failure, tire blow, steering wheel, headlights, 2.2%. Unknown causes, 14%. That's the information I wanted to give. Honorable Miyanja.
Yes, Honorable Miyanja.
As I conclude, Right Honorable Speaker, our concern when you look at the letter which is addressed to the press, the Honorable Minister mentioned only 7. I happened to went there myself twice, but now they know me. I am sure the last time I was well treated and they send away very fast. But when you look at the way people do suffer there, and you hear that the only token that goes to the government coffers is only 10, 28%, 10 plus VAT. Right, Honorable Speaker and Honorable Members, when you look at the condition of our roads, and yet we are here to support the foreigners and collect all the money and take away. This works, Right Honorable Speaker, inspection in the past was used to be done by police at Naguru. And we are not rejecting.
Information.
Thank you, Muyanja, to give me the way. Madam Speaker, what is disturbing, and I think I've been in this house, the same company, SGS, the same company, SGS, was by Uganda government in 1998, 2000, to inspect all goods coming into the country. Pre-shipment. All the goods, 80% were substandard. By the same country, by the same company. You are contracting a company again. The same one. The same one. And in 6th Parliament, Madam Speaker, if you are remembering, or 7th Parliament, this company was suspended by government. The report is in the house here. We have it on record. Now it's the same company given the same contract. With no time limit. With no time limit. What she has read, there is no time framework to build the capacity so that Ugandans can take over. It's an open-ended. How long are we going to continue? To enrich or to stop? Because when you test a company and it doesn't perform, why do you do it again? Madam Speaker, we are here on the floor of the House. The same company, according to the practical measure down on the ground on inspection of vehicles, it will not manage. Take it, leave it. It will be substandard. And as we talk today, some people have complained to us that even they give certificates before you take vehicles there. And if it needs be, we shall bring the record on the floor of the House. Me, what I want to request, Minister of Works, go back. You had the IOV all over the country. Respect these vehicles. Build those capacities.
Information.
Or maybe work together with those SGS who have
more information.
And you bring one comprehensive data which can help Ugandans to have vehicles be on the road. To say that the vehicles, Rwanda managed it this way. Rwanda decided not to import all vehicles in the country. They bought new vehicles. Where Uganda cannot manage. Uganda cannot manage. Because we cannot make to that standard. If you want it to be, enrich your own capacity of IOVs you had, that it used to work. If you know that the mechanical engineers are not there, build the capacity, keep these guys over. But to collect money and give to foreign companies, they will get money and run away and there will be no work done.
Please conclude, Honorable Muyanja, conclude.
Further information.
Right Honorable Speaker and Honorable colleagues, we also requested the Right Honorable Speaker for the contract so that it can be reviewed by this August House. Either, because Right Honorable Speaker, before I give you way, Right Honorable Speaker, when you look, Right Honorable Speaker, when you look at what we refer to as taxes here,
Allow Honorable Muyanja to
the 14 people seat passengers, these are vehicles which come without seats, and seats are fixed here without beds, and beds are fixed here. So when these go for inspection, they are denied chance. And whereas here they have been accepted to enter the country or to be imported. When you look at the buses, right, Honorable Speaker and colleagues, it is publicly known that most buses in our roads are originally not buses but lorries, which are modified and assembled in Kenya. And as I understand today, they have started in Jinja assembling them. What are the technical challenges? Right, Honorable Speaker, you find that the seats cannot be compared with their technical requirements, qualifications, and at the end of the day, even when you look at the frame itself, they deny chance, but when they are exactly in a know that all these buses are manufactured in Kenya and now in Jinja. Finally, Right Honorable Speaker, when you look at the assembled, they assembled in Kenya and now in Jinja. Right Honorable Speaker, there is also an element of double taxation. That was our concern. Previously, the Uganda government scrapped road license as a waiver to the many Ugandans suffering. But now they are coming up with another new tax. Right Honorable Speaker, when you go there, the minister has said after 30 days, when you go and you don't pass, you pay again. They don't even wait for the 30 days. I was there physically. I know even the money I gave them myself, even if you ask them. So it is not automatic that you will have to pay again after 30 days. Secondly, when you import a car, it is also inspected. The sticker is there. Even if we import it today, Right Honorable Speaker, and it comes in this very month of June, after that inspection of $200, again you are going to be charged here another inspection charge. So, Right Honorable Speaker, information. Thank you. As I rest my case.
Honorable Guzu? Then I will have Honorable Nakate.
Thank you, Honorable Member,
Honorable Nakate,
for allowing me to give you information.
Information, but he has...
No, you gave
Okay,
me
information.
information.
Okay.
The information I wanted to give the Honorable Member is this Parliament passed a law which will determine how government goes into business with private sector.
PPP.
And the law was PPP. And I wanted to inform you that this SGS deal did not go through PPA law, which would allow Parliament to approve government's engagement with private sector. If it was done, maybe the ministers here, she can clarify when Parliament approved SGS engagement with government. Thank you.
Honorable Nakate, then Honorable Ndezi, then I come to you. I'm coming. Honorable Nakate. Engineer Nakate first.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker, for the opportunity. I want to thank the Minister for the statement. I have few concerns.
Order, members, order.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. The concerns I have in the Minister's statement, I've been tickled. There is about the subsequent fees payment as a percentage of the initial inspection fee. I can see payment for appeal against results of inspection as 150%. Right Honorable Speaker, honorable colleagues, I must say I'm disappointed. I would like the Minister to tell us when you made that decision to alter the specifications, because according to the contract, we were supposed to have equipment installed from Germany, but the equipment that is currently installed in the stations like Kawanda is from France. So this brings me to the conclusion that the honorable member, when he was submitting about the substandard work, we are not likely to get the best. And this may be, that is why actually they could have put this percentage high, the one for appealing against the results of inspection. Madam Speaker, this contract for SGS is a 5-year term contract, which is renewable. It was signed in March 2015. And the contractor was supposed to construct these other 7 stations like you have seen in the first 18 months. But honorable members, as colleagues, as you may review what the minister's statement, you'll find that only Kawanda was constructed in the first 18 months. And the rest, Nabingo and Namulanda, that one, the time had elapsed, and the rest of the stations are ongoing. So now, I want to find out from the minister if you have issued any warning letters to this contractor, because this will feed into the justification for you to renew the contract or to allow our local people to take on the contract. So with those few remarks, Right Honorable Speaker, I just want to caution the ministry that a lot is desired in the SGS. Thank you.
Honorable Alex Ndezi, then Honorable Bonzogo. Let's see Honorable Ndezi.
Madam Speaker, I believe and I trust all of us gathered here today are patriots. Patriots work or do what in the best interest of their people, of their citizens. The jobs we have should, as much as possible, be reserved for our citizens. The money we have should, as much as possible, be reserved for our citizens. Mr. Speaker, sir, Madam Speaker, this is what we have been talking about too. Build Uganda, buy Uganda, etc. Now, Madam Speaker, since the arrival of the first vehicle in this country, all inspection has been carried out by the people of this country. Uganda has the capacity. It has the means. I draw your attention to page 3 of the critical areas being done by this foreign firm. The first one is checking brakes. Who does it all check brakes here? Realignment. Many technical personnel in the country know how to manage realignment. I'll tell you, the person will go in this country, they know. Head the ramps. Madam Speaker, you can know. But you have a problem. Suspension. Yeah, my road. Exhaust smoke. You can't see the smoke. So, Madam Speaker, the point I want to say is that we are driving in reverse gear and we are denying our own jobs. We are denying our own work. My request to the minister is, please tell us the best policy to terminate this contract with SGS. If you fear to initiate the process of terminating the contract, tell us to help you. Thank you so much.
Let's hear from Honorable Zogo.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. Right Honorable Speaker, we are here and I wish to seek your indulgence, Right Honorable Speaker, that we have received Part A of this matter that we are handling, and I want to seek your indulgence, Right Honorable Speaker, to give me some reasonable time to also present Part B of this matter that we are handling. Because
where is Part B?
It's here I'm going to handle, Right Honorable Speaker. Right Honorable Speaker.
How long will it take? Just do the highlights. Your areas of objection.
I'm going to give highlights, Right Honorable Speaker. Okay. Right Honorable Speaker.
Honorable Yumus.
No, I am speaking as the Member of Parliament for Chichis East. Madam Speaker and honorable members, I'm just raising on a point of procedure. I have heard members make reference to a contract, to information, which apparently not all of us have. And I don't know whether the discussion now can help us make a decision. Wouldn't it be procedurally correct that we send this report to the appropriate committee of Parliament to study this contract and engage with the minister and receive additional information so that the committee can, and even the Honorable Nzo, the shadow minister, can give that alternative view, and then the committee can inform this House based on detailed interface to enable Parliament to make a proper decision. Otherwise, at the moment, some of us don't have full information to enable us to take appropriate decision. I just wanted your procedural guidance on that.
Honourable members, after Honourable Nzogu, I was going to propose that there are serious divergences in the information on the amount of money, on the way they think is managed, and so on. So I was going to say that we should send to our committee of physical infrastructure to examine the contract, hold public hearings with the public and also the people who are managing SGS, and bring us a report, because there are many things which you cannot conclude here. So, Chair of Infrastructure, can we give you 1 month? Do the research and come back to us on all the areas of disagreement. 1 month.
Guidance, right?
1 month. 1 month.
Guidance.
It's urgent because our people have to drive. Yes, Honorable Kasibani.
Thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker. And I'm seeking this guidance as the leader of opposition. Right Honorable Speaker, the minister has ably stated that the exercise is ongoing. As we talk now, they are at the stage that she referred to as caution stage before the actual operation. What I wanted to be guided on, Right Honorable Speaker, can't we then say that we suspend from the caution stage until when Parliament resolves itself on the matter? Thank you very much.
I don't know. The minister has made a proposal, the presentation. The members have also made their counter presentations, but I don't know whether we are ready to take a position now. Why don't we give ourselves time? What does the minister say?
Temporary measure.
Yes, Honorable Tinka. It will be bloody.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. Madam Speaker, when you see the tempo in the House and the outcry in the public, we cannot just leave this House and say 1 month and leave the minister with her companies ready to rake the Ugandans without a temporary measure that can at least hold the minister and the company somewhere in some kind of an injunction, political injunction from the House to say, first hold on, we pronounce ourselves, then you will proceed.
Further prayer, Madam Speaker. Further prayer.
Minister, what
Madam
they are
Speaker.
consulting.
Further prayer, Madam Speaker.
What does the minister say? There's a proposal that we suspend the actions of the SGS.
Further prayer, Madam Speaker, before the minister comes on.
Right Honorable Speaker,
Further
there is
prayer,
a
Madam-
valid,
Before she comes on.
Right Honorable Speaker, there is
Guidance,
a valid
Madam Speaker.
contract. There is a valid contract, and we all know about contractual
Procedure.
obligations.
Procedure. Procedure. Thank you. Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. I wish to add this following what the leader of opposition has given, Right Honorable Speaker. as we take a decision, that provisionally all motor vehicles, in addition to what the Leader of Opposition has proposed, that all motor vehicles in Uganda, Right Honorable Speaker, be inspected by the Ministry of Works and Transport Department of Mechanical Engineering, and a schedule of such inspections issued in all districts of Uganda, meanwhile, as we wait for the report of the Physical Infrastructure Committee.
No, I think that would be interfering with the contract. What I wanted to propose is that they continue inspecting, but they suspend the caution phase. That phase which wanted to start off caution and this and that, and stop the announcements until we have had our report in 1 month. Yes, no caution. That phase, the second phase you wanted to start in July, you stop it, let them inspect, but they hold it until our report has come, and this is urgent. Yes, okay. Okay. Honorable Latif.
Thank you very much.
We are
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, this is a very serious issue, and it concerns our voters and all Ugandans. Madam Speaker, as we talk now, if you happen to visit all these centers as talked about, it is terrible. Madam Speaker, if the announcements are going on, that the deadline is tomorrow, on Saturday, 1st July, and as people's representatives, you remember, Madam Speaker, the issue of SIM registration. It was this House that saved the public from what was going on. And again, the public is looking to us. Because, Madam Speaker, there is no justification. You have had the inspection, the charges of the $200 when the vehicles are being imported. And now there is another charge. You have heard about the same company which was suspended by the same government. This is not another, this is the same government that suspended SGS a few years ago. Madam Speaker, I propose and I request that as we carry out the due diligence as part of our responsibility as this August House, let whatever they have been trying to do be put on hold until we are done as members of Parliament, so that these announcements go on, that there is no any kind of, even the police must be involved, because now police have been warming up that on Monday they are going to arrest all people, all vehicles. Madam Speaker, it is this House that can save that can save our voters, and it is this House that can come out, even if the government says yes, they have already made an agreement, a contract. But if the contract is not in favor of Ugandans, then what type of contract is that? So we must, if it means cancelling the contract, terminating it, so be it, because we must protect all Ugandans.
Honourable members, in order to terminate the contract, we must study it. That's why I want our committee to look at it and advise us how to move. But my worry is that if we stop now, we will be in breach. Suppose we stop the deadline. But announcements are going on. Announcements are going on. Honourable Hunda.
Thank you very much.
Can we suspend the deadline so that Ugandans are free? Yes.
Madam, thank you very much,
Honourable
Honourable Speaker.
Order. Centenary.
Right Honourable Speaker, this is not the first time, Right Honourable Speaker, a matter of this situation comes on the floor of Parliament. We have come to learn of a mafia group. And this mafia group is very smart. Right Honourable Speaker, they even, within the contracts, they know very well that at a given period when Ugandans wake up and know their games and schemes, they will be able to put political pressure and terminate contracts. But within those clauses of the contracts, the the technocrats who sign these contracts, they sell us. Even now, as we are talking, they have already a provision that is protecting them, including the entire scheme, such that we are able to pay heavily in case this contract is terminated. But, Right Honorable Speaker, this is a very, very serious matter. We have seen it when it comes to sugar. They collect money out of us. They put, whenever they run short of money, they go and hike the prices and collect the difference. Every opportunity which they get, they have to make sure that they turn Ugandans into business. Now imagine such a scheme. Imagine, Right Honorable Speaker, how can we have any sane person go and append a signature to commit Ugandans to give wealth to foreigners? How can we do that? I think it is high time, Right Honorable Speaker, as Parliament we pronounce ourselves on these matters. We are really tired about selling this country. Look at Mutagali case. We have just revised Mutagali. This is not a small matter, Right Honorable Speaker. Let us debate this matter such that we put to an end the thuggery that we are seeing happening in our country.
Honorable Whip, and then I go to Honorable Court.
Thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker. And I want to thank colleagues for their submission. Right Honorable Speaker, I listened to you, and you guided very well. As you can see from the floor, more and more information is coming out, which we cannot cross-check. More people could be having more information. And the minister, the government, is in agreement with your suggestion that the matter goes to the committee. And regarding suspension of the announcements and deadline, in the minister's statement, she said that there is no deadline. That means those who are announcing must be told to stop forthwith. And the minister is going to do so. Announcements to talk about deadlines are going to stop tonight. The minister is going to instruct whoever has been in charge of misleading the country, because the minister in charge is saying she did not put a deadline. Why can't we stop there, madam, like you have guided? And then we go to the committee, which is going to handle the matter.
Honourable members, I think in order to support the minister, this House directs that the deadline be extinguished immediately. Then the minister can now go and say, Parliament has told me no deadline. And they stop the announcements. Then our committee to handle the issue, including the examining the contract and report back. Now, you, government chief, we constitute your committees quickly. You, leader of opposition, I want your committee quickly. Yes, we lead the committee. By Tuesday, I want the names of the committees, of all the committees. Yes, so that they can start work. And in 1 month, report back, and we debate and finish the matter. Okay, thank you. Thank you very much. Next item. Honorable, where is my chair?
Leg of papers.
There? Oh, understand the Minister of Internal Affairs will now lay the regulations. Item 4.
Item 4A.
4A, Honorable Minister.
Madam Speaker and honorable colleagues, I beg to lay the non-government organizations fees regulations 2017.
Honourable members, the regulations are now available for your perusal.
Item 4B.
Minister.
Madam Speaker, I beg to lay the non-government organization regulations 2017.
Honourable members, they are now available for your scrutiny and information. Next item.
Item Number 6 on the order paper, Bill's second reading.
Honourable members, yesterday we received the main report and we agreed to receive the minority report today. The minority report, Honourable Guzu.
Thank you, Right Honourable Speaker. I'm here to present a minority report arising out of a bill that was referred to the Committee on Science and Technology, and the report was presented yesterday, but because our sugar levels were so low not to be able to comprehend a lot of issues, Madam Speaker, you advised we could make the presentation today. So I'm here to present that report pursuant to Rule 194 of our rules of procedure. And before I would proceed, allow me lay on table the minority report I'm going to present. I hereby lay. Right Honourable Speaker, technology is evolving at a very fast rate in a number of spheres. Technological advancements such as biotechnology are premised on the mastery of nature and knowledge so as to develop products that are unique in composition and usability. However, in its immense claimed benefits and adverse effects, there is need for wide public consultation, conscious consideration, and regulation. Therefore, in bid to provide a regulatory framework on biotechnology, commonly known as GMO, a National Biotechnology and Biosafety Bill 2012 was tabled in Parliament, scrutinized and reported on. Pursuant to Rule 194 of the Rules of Procedure of the Parliament of Uganda, I'm presenting a dissenting opinion from the opinion of a majority of the Committee on Science and Technology that was presented yesterday. And my point of dissent, or the grounds for dissent, are as follows. One, we are dissenting because there was inadequate public consultation on the bill. Although the committee noted in its report under section 4.2, that is page 20, that there was inadequate public consultation and participation about introduction of GMOs and biosafety, the majority of the committee recommended that the bill be approved with amendments in contravention of the provisions of the Constitution and the Cartagena Protocol on Biodiversity. Right Honourable Speaker, the National Objectives and Directive of State Policy number 10, as enshrined in the Constitution of Uganda, stipulates that the state shall take all necessary steps to involve the people in formulation and implementation of development plans and programs which affect them. Article 23, subsection 2 of the Cartagena Protocol on Biodiversity also requires that parties, which in this case is the government, shall in accordance with their respective laws and regulations consult the public in decision-making process regarding living modified organisms. The cited provisions further stipulates that the party, which in this case government, shall make the results of such decisions available to the public while respecting confidential information in accordance with Article 1 of the said protocol. Contrary to that, the Ministry of Science, Technology and Innovation failed to convince the committee that the public was adequately consulted and involved in developing the bill whose provisions will affect them. The committee further highlights under section 2.1, which is on page 5, regarding medical biotechnology, that GMOs can lead to health risks such as food allergy, antibiotic resistance, reproductive and endocrine disorders, hormone disruptions, birth defects, and short lifespans, cancer, immortality of sperms, sluggishness of sperms, digestive problems, obesity, sterility, and nutritional deficiencies. In addition, modern biotechnology is a technology, honorable members, which is under corporate control. It is protected by patents and other forms of intellectual property rights, and therefore it's contrary to farming traditions of saving seeds and exchanging seeds. In countries like Brazil that have embraced GMO foods, legal battles with corporate GMO producers have arisen and are ongoing due to limitations in multiplication, demand for royalties, and the need to sign technology license agreements before utilization of the products. This raises a risk of affecting Ugandan farmers' culture of...
Honourable Member, are you reading it? Why don't you just give the highlights of the areas of objection? Isn't it on the iPad?
It's on our iPad, but I just thought I could highlight these things more.
Just highlight the areas where you have disagreement, then members can read.
Okay. On the basis of the inadequate consultation and engagement of the public, we therefore feel this bill should be referred back to the sponsor, and the people of Uganda must adequately be involved in its development as required by the Constitution of the Republic of Uganda and the protocol on which this law is premised. Our second ground for dissent was lack of impact assessment. Right Honorable Speaker, majority of the committee under section 2.1 of their report highlighted benefits and costs of this law which is coming to force if passed. But the committee did not indicate whether the benefits of passing this law with amendments would far outweigh the costs which will come with it. And in practice, we know there's what we call regulatory impact assessment guide, which the Cabinet Secretariat issued to all ministries. And this guide provided that before any policy or regulation is developed, the players or the sectors that originate this must be able to analyze and report that whatever policies or regulations they are going to come up with, the benefits will far outweigh the costs. And in this particular case, Madam Speaker, the committee did not indicate whether such a regulatory impact assessment was done for this particular law which they are proposing. So for that purpose, we will request that the bill be referred back to the sponsor for regulatory impact assessment, such that Parliament can be informed on whether it will be very, very beneficial for us to pass this law. And I think Parliament would be interested in knowing the opportunity cost which will arise from passing this law. Our third ground of dissent is the incomprehensiveness of this bill. Right Honorable Speaker, majority of the committee in their report, section 2.1, notes that the bill only seeks to advance agricultural biotechnology while neglecting other forms of biotechnology such as industrial, environmental, medical biotechnology. The bill places emphasis mainly on manipulation of genes to produce agricultural GMOs. In this case, the bill is really limited in scope because it does not cater for other forms of biotechnology. Furthermore, we know GMOs are only a subdivision of biotechnology. Unfortunately, the bill and the proposed amendments are majorly relating to GMOs, not biotechnology as a whole. As you can see in the report that was presented, Of the 44 clauses, 23, which forms about 52, are regarding GMOs. From clause 15 up to 37, and even 11, about 25% pertain to only structural arrangements. So for that reason, we think the bill has not covered a number of issues relating to biotechnology. We even know of traditional and conventional technologies for making beer and all that. All these are not covered. And our fears are alluded to in yesterday's report by the intent of the majority committee to present a minority report to deal with problems associated with other forms of biotechnology as indicated in section 2.1. And because the bill is incomprehensive, we think we must refer the bill to the sponsor such that its scope can be widened to holistically cater for biotechnology as we know it. Madam Speaker, our fourth ground for dissenting from the views of the majority of the committee is inadequate bioethical considerations. The majority report makes no reference to bioethics, yet it is a core element of biotechnology as indicated in the National Biotechnology and Biosafety Policy of 2008. Bioethics stipulates what should and should not be done when developing biotechnology projects. The policy notes that there is an apparent lack of code of ethics in biotechnology research in Uganda. Ethical considerations in biotechnology research therefore do not exist, save for certain aspects that are addressed by the more general national guidelines on research ethics. The Code of Bioethics should enable the development and exploitation of biotechnology in accordance with acceptable social norms. The key factors in shaping public attitude and consumer acceptance of products of biotechnology are therefore bioethics, which in our case was ignored. Madam Speaker, although the bill under clause 44 provides for regulation of bioethical considerations, it is so crucial that the core bioethical provisions are explicitly provided for within the bill. We have noticed issues regarding bioethics are so crucial for Parliament to delegate its responsibility to minister. It is therefore essential that these bioethical provisions are incorporated within the bill so as to address concerns raised in the National Biotechnology and Biosafety Policy. For instance, Madam Speaker, the introduction of GMOs has led to a wider debate on bioethical concerns affecting social, economic, and environmental spheres. These include effects on targeted organisms, insect resistance crops, gene flow, the loss of diversity, as well as issue on interfering with nature. And because of inadequate consideration of bioethical issues, Madam Speaker, we would think the bill should be referred to the sponsor such that the scope is widened so as to incorporate provisions of bioethics. Our additional point of dissent was that there was substantial modification of the bill. Madam Speaker, the majority of the committee made 31, which constitutes about 70% amendments to the 44 clauses of the bill, which if considered with substantial modifications, it certainly modifies the original bill. The substantial amendments more so we are regarding the objectives, which are principal: creation of a directorate responsible for biosafety as a competent authority within the Ministry of Science, Technology, and Innovation. Substantial amendments were also made on functions of the competent authority, And these, to us, raise funding gaps in terms of staffing, operationalization, and enforcement. Madam Speaker, sometime while we were here, the Deputy Speaker, in the first session of the 10th Parliament, guided that if a bill has substantially been amended beyond 50%, it actually loses its originality, and such a bill should be referred for reprinting. And the Speaker further indicated that the bill will create amendments, or the bill should be referred for reprinting if amendments are more than half of the original bill. So the magnitudes of the amendments to this bill necessitate that we really refer it to the sponsor for reprinting. And in the table 1, I've shown countries that were able to refer back their bills because of substantial amendments. It happened in the Parliament of Rwanda, it happened in South Africa, it has happened in Australia, and these are all Commonwealth countries. And we think this Parliament can learn from that practice and refer the bill to address some of these gaps. And we pray it is referred for reprinting. Another point of dissent was the inadequacy of certificate of financial implication. To operationalize this, the Minister of Finance issued a certificate of financial implication. But, Madam Speaker, because of the substantial amendments to the bill, we think the earlier on financial certificate, the certificate of financial implication which was issued is now stretched so much that we may not be able to operationalize the bill. For example, it was presumed this law would be operationalized within the medium-term budget framework. It was also presumed National Council of Science and Technology would be the competent authority. But in these proposed amendments, all these have changed. A directorate has been created in the Ministry of Science, Technology and Innovation. And because of that, this has stretched the financial commitments that government made. And because of that, we think the bill should be referred to the sponsor, so that a new certificate of financial implication can be obtained before this bill is reconsidered by the Parliament of Uganda. Madam Speaker,
please try to wind up. Please try to wind up.
We also notice risk of external influence. The bill and its amendments by the committee did not address the risk of external influence. This necessitates a comprehensive regulatory impact assessment to critically assess and debate the adverse risks of external influence and financial sustainability in advancing biotechnology systems. We noticed that much of the funding for biotechnology research between 2010 and 2011 were largely from foreign sources. About 38 was from foreign organizations, about 33% was from intergovernmental organizations, and about 14 was from development assistance from foreign governments, and the government only committed about 3%. And because there is risk of foreign influence, we are praying this bill should be referred back to the sponsor, and a comprehensive regulatory impact assessment is undertaken so as to assess the risk of foreign and external influence and sustainability going forward before we reconsider the bill. We also noticed that there were misleading amendments to the bill. For example, the title of the bill has been amended from National Biotechnology and Biosafety Bill to National Safety Bill. And this was done without redrafting. And because of that, Madam Speaker, we think this was intended to deal away with the word biotechnology, which was considered synonymous with GMO. And we also noticed there was an intention to depict widened scope of the biotechnology, which was not actually done. And because of that, we think this bill would better be referred to the sponsor so that the people are adequately involved in developing the bill in line with the Constitution and provisions of the Cartagena Protocol on Diversity. Finally, Madam Speaker, our ground for dissent from the majority of the committee was that the committee argued that we should expeditiously approve this bill. And yet we know there are so many laws that have been rushed like this and are not operationalized. And because we want the best law for this country, we think this bill should be referred to the sponsor so that there is a comprehensive involvement of the public as required by the Constitution and the provisions of the Cartagena Protocol. And for that reason, we are praying that the minority report would be considered such that this bill is referred back, reprinted, redrafted before members can pronounce themselves. As I conclude, I wanted to ask a few questions to members. I want to pass these questions to the members of parliament. And these are questions that were sent to me by a voter. One, this voter asked if we are ready as a country to lose our access, our control, and our sharing of seeds, a practice we inherited from our forefathers in this process. The second question, the voter asked me was whether we have the capacity to deal with all threats, bio-threats that will arise from passing this bill. The third question this voter asked me was whether the opportunity cost, whether we have more benefits as a country arising from this bill than the cost before we pass it. The fourth question was whether we are adequately prepared to operationalize this bill. I've passed the questions to you, honorable members. As you pronounce yourself on these issues, I would ask you to kindly consider those questions. Thank you, Madam Speaker. I beg this report be referred. The majority report should not be adopted, and the minority report be adopted so that this bill is referred to the sponsor for the actions we prayed for. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, honourable members. We have now received the minority report. It runs together with the main report. As we indicated yesterday, there are a number of areas that need to be studied, so we shall not go to the debate stage for now. You read through both, and then we can come back to the debate at a later stage. But I just wanted to know whether the Cartagena Protocol is part of our law, whether it was domesticated in this country. You know, everybody's talking about it, but you know, you tell us when you come back to, when you come for the debate. Yes, Honorable Dr. Varimus.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. I thank the chair of the committee and the honorable member for the minority report. I just wanted to seek your procedural guidance because I heard the grounds the member was raising. You know, in the scientific community, there are two strong opinions on biotechnology. There are those who support, there are those who are strongly against. And I am just inviting myself to believe that maybe the strong opposition group is not just using this opportunity of minority report. Madam Speaker, when you look at Rule 194 about minority report, it says a member dissenting from the opinion of a majority of a committee may state in writing the reasons for his or her or their dissent, and the statements of reasons shall be appended to the report of the committee. My understanding of a minority report is that you are a member of the committee, you discuss with the members throughout. By the time of forming an opinion by the committee, you disagree with that opinion and you state yours. But when I hear the grounds, the member is just questioning the procedures, the methodological approach, like say the certificate of financial implications. Can that be a ground for a minority report? This is a government bill. So I am seeking guidance from the Speaker. No, I am seeking guidance as a member of this House. Whether grounds like the certificate of financial implications maybe has expired, can it be a ground envisaged in the rules? In the rules,
order.
Be raised as
point of order, Mr. Minister. Madam Speaker.
It has not been allowed.
Huh?
So, Madam Speaker.
Order.
The Speaker has not allowed that. He has allowed me to continue.
Order, Madam Speaker.
So, Madam Speaker, that's why I rose to guide me and the House on what kind of grounds a member can raise to justify a minority report. I just wanted that clearance in my mind.
Now, but you're...
Thank you. Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. Madam Speaker, we have been attentively listening to the submission of the minority report, and I vividly remember a justification, principal justification that was used, the manipulation of genes in the manufacture of genetically modified organisms is a very key principle that justifies dissenting view from the minority. So with that, Madam Speaker, is it in order for the Minister to rubbish this minority report when it has lots of justification?
Now, honourable members, I think the minority report had 9 grounds. I think the certificate is just one of them. So I want to advise that you go and study all of them, study the main report and the minority. When we come to debate, you can thrash them. But for now, let's just accept all the grounds and we shall debate them. Next item.
Item 6
You
on the
stand
other
up.
paper.
Next item.
Item 7, motion for adoption of the report of the Standing Committee on HIV/AIDS and other related matters on the state of the HIV/AIDS response in Uganda.
Honorable Aliek. I'm trying to. Going there. Yes, yes, working for
Madam Speaker,
okay, let's see what we...
and honorable members,
if you could please give the highlights, just the highlights. I think the report is with on the iPad.
yes.
Give the highlights.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. Under Rule 172B of our Rules of Procedure, the Committee on HIV/AIDS and other related matters is, among others, mandated to scrutinize the HIV/AIDS policies, monitor and evaluate strategies and activities of government, local governments and other bodies aimed at the HIV/AIDS prevention, care and treatment, and psychosocial support of infected and affected persons. The committee is further required under Rule 172, Section 2, to report to Parliament at least twice a year. I have the honor, Madam Speaker, on behalf of the Committee of HIV/AIDS and related matters, to present to you the report on the state of HIV response in the country. This report is an outcome of the 9th Joint Annual Review meeting that was held in August 2016, and other activities that the committee undertook, namely meetings with stakeholders, including Ministry of Health, Uganda AIDS Commission, UNASO, Reach Out to Mbuya. 2, participation in the 8th National Pediatric and Adolescent HIV/AIDS Conference, a stakeholders consultative meeting held in Western Uganda in September 2016, and another one in Kalangala on 2nd December 2016. The field trips that had been carried out to Elizabeth Glazer project activities in southwestern Uganda. I take this honor, Madam Speaker, to mention the state of HIV in the country. HIV/AIDS has been a big global health concern for the last 30 years, with far-reaching, undesirable socio-economic consequences. The consequences have moreover been more pronounced in the developing countries, especially sub-Saharan Africa, Uganda inclusive. On a positive note, Madam Speaker, new prevention, treatment, and care measures over the last 16 years have resulted into a global decline in infection and impact of the HIV scourge. The situation in Uganda, Madam Speaker, and other East and Southern African countries, on the other hand, has moved in the opposite direction of the global trend. As a result, Sub-Saharan accounts for over 50% of the new infections and global HIV burden, with Uganda inclusive. The sub-region, Madam Speaker, is estimated to have between 17 million to 20.5 million people living with HIV, a number more than half of the world's HIV burden of 34 million, between 34 million to 39 million. The number of people who are HIV positive in this country are 1.5 million, who under the new UNAIDS guidelines require care, treatment, and support. As you may be aware, Madam Speaker, Uganda was able to bring down the rate of HIV prevalence from 18% in the 1980s to 6% in the late 1990s. But this was a success story built on political will and involvement of the communities, making Uganda a blueprint for the fight against HIV, not only in Africa but beyond. Moreover, this was at a time when prevention and treatment opportunities, including ARVs, were not readily available. So there has been a turn, Madam Speaker, in the wrong direction since 2011, with Uganda having the highest HIV burden within East African community, with an HIV prevalence of 7.3% compared to Kenya, which is 5.9%, Tanzania 4.7%, Rwanda 2.9%, and Burundi 1.1%. Uganda is one of the only 2 countries that registered an increase in the number of new infections between 2005 and 2013. As already noted, Madam Speaker, we have a high HIV burden that stands at 7.3% prevalence, coupled with the high infections in specific subpopulations and subregions of this country. In some subregions of the country, Madam Speaker, the HIV prevalence has almost doubled. The high prevalence amidst better prevention and treatment opportunities and knowledge about HIV calls for rethink on the strategies against HIV, so as to move in tandem with a global strategy to eliminate HIV by 2030. So as you look at the trend of the new infections, Madam Speaker, the high prevalence has moved from married couples as majority. New infections are now more pronounced amongst adolescents and young people, accounting for 66% of new infections. And the most at-risk populations, Madam Speaker. This country is registering 83,000 new infections annually, largely occurring among the youth between 12 and 24 years, and particularly the young girls. Madam Speaker, the national HIV prevalence, which stands at 7.3 and then 8.3% among women and 6.1% among men. The prevalence amongst adolescents 15 to 19 is 3% among girls and 1.7% among boys, while for ages 20 to 24 years, prevalence is 7.1% for women and 2.8% for men. In absolute terms, Madam Speaker, the numbers of adolescents 15 to 24 years who are positive is big because they form the bigger part of the population. Madam Speaker, there has been a movement in HIV prevalence by regions between 2005 and 2014 as follows. Central region, Madam Speaker, moved from 8.5% to 10.6% currently. Mid-Northern moved from 8.2% to 8.3%. Midwestern Uganda moved from 6.8% to 8.2% currently. Southwestern Uganda moved from 5.9% to 8%. West Nile region moved from 2.3 to 4.9%. Northeast from 3.5 to 5.3%. The reduction has only been realized in East Central, Madam Speaker, from 6.5% to 5.8%, and Mid-Eastern from 5.3 to 4.1%. So, Madam Speaker and honorable members, amidst these worrying statistics, some successes have been registered. The annual enrollment on antiretroviral therapy, which is ART, is currently more than the number of new infections, in addition to a number of care and prevention interventions. The above has resulted into a change in some of the indicators between 2011 and 2015, including the reduction in new infections from 162,000 to 83,000, reduction in mother-to-child transmission from 31,000 to 3,246 currently. And this has been a very great achievement, and elimination of mother-to-child transmission was championed by First Lady. There had been a success of about 85% to that respect. Madam Speaker, there has also been reduction in HIV/AIDS related deaths from 63,000 to 28,000, and an increase in persons under treatment from 588,039 to 834,931. So further successes, Madam Speaker, are expected to be registered with the adoption of the new UNAIDS guidelines to test and treat everybody that turned out to be positive, that were launched by the Honorable Minister of Health in November 2016. As we look at the drivers of the HIV incidents in the country, Madam Speaker, these include high-risk sexual behaviors characterized by early sexual debut, which stands at 12 years for girls, with 25% of the girls getting pregnant before the age of 18, multiple sexual relationships, inconsistent and incorrect condom use, and transactional sex. There's also low utilization of comprehensive antenatal care and delivery services, Madam Speaker. Also noted was the high numbers of HIV-positive patients not on antiretroviral therapy, whose risk of transmission is very high. The sexual and gender-based violence resulting from gender inequalities that affects the sexual decision-making of the young girls, thus exposing them to the risk of contracting HIV. And there is also, Madam Speaker, alcohol consumption closely associated with the sexual activities. Madam Speaker, I'm trying to summarize these reports. I'm going straight away to the challenges in the prevention. And that is page 18 of our report. There's continued stock out of HIV test kits that tends to undermine the demand for HIV counseling and testing services and their benefits to HIV prevention, including linkage to care and HIV prevention when eligible patients are started on ART. This is partly because of the high rate of repeat testing estimated at 60%, which affects quantification and rationalization of the test requirements. There is a weak data management, Madam Speaker, and tracking of the mobile clients on ART and limited coordination of efforts by the various partners at district and lower levels. Madam Speaker, the numbers of organizations offering services to the MAPS, that is the most at-risk populations, are still few, partly due to the existing legalities and community intolerance, coupled with low opportunities for funding. Other challenges being experienced include inadequate or insufficient funds in the districts to plan for HIV/AIDS activities. Some areas such as islands in Ikioga and also Kalangala were facing difficulties benefiting from HIV and AIDS activities due to transport costs associated with moving HIV counseling and testing and other services from island to another. Emerging diseases in some parts of the country, like hepatitis B, has resulted into the population shifting focus away from HIV/AIDS to the emerging diseases. Some clients dropped in most districts due to lack of logistics, since donors pulled out training of health care workers and introduction of the test and treat policy. There has also been lack of test kits and other logistics, as I already talked about. And it was further noted that some logistics were not present at national medical stores, yet national medical stores blames districts for not placing in right and timely orders. Madam Speaker, support to the most at-risk populations desk at Ministry of Health for coordination is very meager. For example, the coordination desk has no vehicle, making it difficult to supervise and support up-country facilities. Lack of consolidated condom program data, particularly due to distribution from the various points, has remained a challenge for condom forecasting and quantification. There has also been complex procurement process, Madam Speaker, that delayed critical deliveries, as well as complex and slow process for disbursement of funds where some funds exist. Madam Speaker, we also notice constraining legal, cultural, social environments with the resultant stigma and discrimination. I want to mention this because we also notice some pupils in some primary schools being stigmatized by the teachers and the fellow pupils. So stigma in this country still remains a very big challenge on HIV/AIDS fight. So our children are suffering. Sometimes they are asked why they come late to school when they are on ARVs. The teacher may only say, you are dozing in class is it because you are on ARVs? That's why you keep dozing in class. So stigma is still a very big problem in HIV/AIDS fight. Madam Speaker, we have some of these recommendations. As regards HIV prevention, we want excuse me, to bring on board local communities in designing prevention strategies for specific communities and populations to address the peculiar characteristics that may be associated with the different communities and subpopulations. Madam Speaker, we want to scale up training on ordering of medicines by the responsible health staff to avert stockouts arising from inappropriate orders. And in this one, we want to really remove the blame games from national medical stores and then the health facilities. There has also been strengthening the VHTs and the rollout of the mother-to-mother peer groups to assist in ensuring that mothers are not lost along the follow-up process. Rolling out the electronic medical records across the whole healthcare system in the country. Madam Speaker, when you look at care and treatment, HIV treatment is critical to ending the AIDS epidemic as it reduces HIV transmission and is partly the basis for the 90-90-90 strategy. Currently, the ART or the antiretroviral therapy coverage is only 58%. The 90-90-90 strategy means 90% of our population should be able to know that they are HIV positive. Then out of those tested HIV positive, 90% should be put on antiretroviral therapy. And then out of those put on antiretroviral therapy, 90% should have their viral loads suppressed, to the extent that the rate of transmission is greatly reduced in this category of people. So that is the meaning of the 90-90-90 strategy. The target under care and treatment is to have a 70% reduction in HIV/AIDS deaths and morbidity and a 90% viral suppression by the year 2020. Meaning, if the 90% of those who are positive are already put on antiretroviral therapy, then they should have their viral loads suppressed to the extent that they no longer transmit the infection. Increasing treatment access to 80% of the HIV positive persons in Uganda. Now that we are talking about the 90-90-90 by 2020 strategy by UNAIDS, we are now focusing at 90%. So this will help Uganda to avert 2,160,000 new infections between 2015 and 2025, a 77% reduction from the current trend. Reduction of the new infections, Madam Speaker, in children from 14,200 to 4,040 between 2014 and 2025. If this is also done, Madam Speaker, Uganda will be able to avoid 570,000 deaths by the year 2025, and the lives of 42,000 children will be saved from the AIDS-related deaths by 2025. This is in line with the key actions, Madam Speaker, to start the implementation of the UN General Assembly political declaration to end the AIDS epidemic by 2030 within the Sustainable Development Goals. I'm also happy to announce here that the Presidential Fast Track Initiative was launched on 6th of this month involving 5 key action points. That includes, first of all, addressing the prevention strategies in the young people, and also elimination of mother-to-child transmission. And another one, which is number 3, is to have a sustainable financing within this country. Madam Speaker, looking at the gaps noted during the field tours, as I try to summarize, during the field tours by the committee and further to the above challenges, the following gaps were noted. There was lack of sharing of HIV/AIDS information between the different partners to help, among others, track mobile patients who relocate from one place to another. And also the non-trained traditional birth attendants, Madam Speaker, we are continuing to deliver mothers, and as a result, interfering with the elimination of mother-to-child transmission implementation among the pregnant mothers. There was also a diversion of HIV-positive patients from the healthcare system to treatment care with witch doctors and some church sects that convinced their flock to abandon treatment and rely entirely on prayer. Such patients get back to the healthcare system when already in critical condition and when not much can be done on them. Testing centers were facing challenges in bringing blood samples to Kampala for viral load testing. We have the machine for viral load testing only at Butabika. So all these other districts have to come to the central point for the viral load testing. Religious institutions and leaders were carrying out a key role in the fight against HIV, but were receiving insignificant funding from the government. Madam Speaker, a number of health facilities were not equipped with youth-friendly services for HIV care and prevention. Some development partners were not sharing information with their district political leaders. So the committee recommended that the rollout of the electronic medical records across the country and integrating the national identification system within the healthcare system should be implemented. Sensitization should be continuous, especially for the traditional birth attendants, and the VHTs should champion this with focus of getting mothers referred to the health facilities. Rollout of the family support groups and the peer mothers approach as an intervention to increase uptake of HIV services. Madam Speaker, there should be establishment of youth-friendly corners in all health facilities in this country to help our youth seek HIV prevention, care, and treatment. And there should also be dissemination of interventions by partners at the local government levels and sharing of HIV infection with the district leadership. Madam Speaker, allow me to wind up by mentioning about the HIV/AIDS fund. For the response of HIV/AIDS in this country. There is over-reliance, Madam Speaker, on external donors to finance the HIV/AIDS national response, including at local government level accounting to 89% of the funding. So the contribution from partners has flattened amidst the need to scale up integrated HIV prevention and treatment to achieve the 90-90-90 strategy by 2020. So there is a shift by most of the key partners to fund the broader health system components away from the direct implementation of HIV activities whose funding has been through off-budget support. Country donors like the PEPFAR, Irish Aid, and Danida have refocused their funding portfolios following a number of global issues such as competing health and development demands across Africa and ever-increasing burden on HIV treatment. The Global Fund, on the other hand, is refocusing on its funding towards health system strengthening, not HIV/AIDS at this point in time. So ministries and departments and agencies budget for HIV activities, Madam Speaker, under their entities, but the provision is very small and casually and casualty to budget cuts and realignments within MDAs. Districts and sub-counties depend on central government purely, that are largely conditional, resulting into little monitoring and supervision of HIV interventions. Now, when we look at the recent HIV trust fund regulations that have been laid on the floor of Parliament by the Minister of Finance, I'm happy to announce that the regulations have finally been approved, but the committee is still sitting down to scrutinize the regulations, which results will still be laid on the floor of Parliament. So we want an increase in domestic financing, Madam Speaker, for HIV/AIDS activities. Lastly, I want to share a small success story, Madam Speaker. Give me 2 minutes. The committee wishes to cite 2 examples of responses that give us hope that it is possible to achieve the 90-90-90 strategy by 2020 with the right interventions. This is specifically in regard to the achievement of Kalangala district and the and the Reach Out to Mboya Parish HIV/AIDS initiative in the HIV response. Kalangala district, Madam Speaker, is dominated by the most at-risk population, which had a 36% HIV prevalence amongst its population, 35% amongst the pregnant mothers, and 28% of the children born to HIV positive turning out to be positive in 2014. The district has scaled up HIV intervention with the assistance of a number of partners and has, in a period of 10 years, been able to, 1, have 88% of the population tested and knowing their HIV status, well above the national coverage of 50%, or 56% rather. Kalangala has been able to reduce the HIV prevalence by half, from 36% in 2004 to 18% in 2015. Kalangala initiated the test and treat strategy ahead of the Ministry of Health policy to start the same. And they have also reduced infection of children born to HIV positive mothers from 28% to 2.5% as a result of PMTCT program championed by the First Lady. And they have also been able to integrate quite a number of services in the HIV care and treatment, including TB, sexual and gender-based violence, reproductive health, nutrition, assessment, care, and support. Kalangala, Madam Speaker, has retained 72% of the HIV/AIDS clients, 89.3% of whom are on ART, which means they are now moving towards the 90-90-90, and half of the male population circumcised. They have also achieved 87% of staffing levels in the healthcare system. Madam Speaker, Reach Out to Mboya Parish HIV/AIDS initiative. Lastly, the initiative is a project started by Our Lady of Africa, Catholic Church Mboya in 2004. It provides a holistic approach to care that includes medical, psychosocial, economic, and spiritual support to people infected and affected by HIV. Of significance, Madam Speaker, the initiative has been a success story in the PMTCT program. In 2005, 32% of the children born to HIV-positive mothers under their care by then turned out positive. This reduced to 6% in 2006, 2% in 2009, to 0% in 2011. Madam Speaker and honorable members, from 2011 to 2015, the initiative has continued to register 0% transmission from mother to child amongst the HIV-positive mothers under their care. That is about 6 years without any child turning out to be positive. Madam Speaker and honorable members, despite the challenges we are still facing in containing and eventually eliminating HIV/AIDS in the country, we live in a time where we are fairly well equipped to deal with the pandemic. We have the well-tested solutions, Madam Speaker, be it prevention, be it care, treatment, or social support, with sustained financial, political, and community commitments. Achieving an AIDS-free generation in line with the 2030 strategy is possible. We need to, among other strategies, Madam Speaker, transit to new and sustainable financing mechanisms, which fortunately for us are provided for in the HIV/AIDS Prevention and Control Act 2014. I wish to end by appealing to each of us to play our individual and collective roles towards an HIV-free generation. I beg to report, Madam Speaker.
Thank you very, very much, Honorable Chair of the Standing Committee on HIV and AIDS and your members. Now, honourable members, this is the first time we are going to have an opportunity to debate this issue of HIV, and I think it requires time. So I want to propose that we postpone the debate to next week so that we address it fully. There are many good things, bad things, challenges. So let's postpone it to that time. Now, honourable members, yesterday I informed you about the issue of sexual violence against children. And today I had made room to amend the order paper to allow a motion to be brought, a short one, to deal with the issue of the protection of children. But let's do it quickly because at 6 I must be in Lugogo to officiate at the finals of the Netball Cup. So if we could use just 25 minutes, 5 to present, and the debate. But Honorable Amoding told me that number 10 is not ready. Oh, now what do I do? Now, let us do...
Yeah, we'll do this one first.
We'll give them 5 minutes each?
No, Madam Speaker.
Yeah, right, Honorable Speaker. Since both of them are ready, you can give them 5 minutes, let them summarize the main issues, and the debate shall be limited. It's very important to listen from both of them. Thank you. From Honorable Franca and...
Madam Speaker.
Yes, Honorable Segi.
Thank you so much, Right Honorable Speaker. Madam Speaker, I believe the issue of children is very, very important. We don't need to give it as short a time as proposed. We can give it as much time as it requires. And really to show that we consider children very important in this country. The fact that we've allowed it to come this far, let's give it time. I therefore propose that we postpone the debate for a better time when we have ample time. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Okay, honourable members, there are actually three motions. One is on sexual violence against the girl children. Honourable Nakatawa wants to move. The other one is for general protection of children. Then the third one is to move a bill for an act of parliament. So maybe we give them one day together. We set a day for the motion for the private members bill, and the one of Honourable Nakate, the one of Honourable Article. No, let's give them a day. We'll give a day to the children. Let's give a day for the children of Uganda so that we debate for afternoon. Okay. Okay. We have one of the child victims. We had invited her, but I met them yesterday. We'll call you back. Please stand up. She had come to just hear the debate, but we shall call her back when we have the formal debate on all those issues. Yes, she's one of the victims. Yes. Okay. Now, Honorable, I don't know what to do with Honorable Mutonyi. You know the issue of the elections. But I've asked the minister to come. We may not do anything about the July 1st because it is statutory. But how to manage it, I think we should wait for the minister. Yes, what do you want me to do, Honorable Mutonyi? You know, you are sitting, I don't know what you want me to do.
Madam Speaker, the information that we received here cannot stop us from passing this bill, because what if it comes in October, in September, that they are going to carry out elections? It means that the chairpersons will not be able to cross over or maybe remain where they are. It's a simple bill. Doesn't take long, because the districts are going to be affected.
I don't know where the chairman of the
will not
Committee
take long.
of Public Services, have they had time to handle the bill?
Madam Speaker, we discussed this morning that in the absence of the committees, because they have not been constituted, and you promised that we would move a motion to waive the Rule 118 in order to allow the debate and passing of the bill. It's a small bill.
What I don't know is whether the members have the bill.
They have it in the pigeonholes. It was uploaded. Even last week when I read it, it was uploaded. It was uploaded.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, earlier on we had the Minister in charge of, the Minister of State in charge of local government. And it's unfortunate that we don't have the chairperson in charge of local government, because the issues of of the elections at lower local government is very, very important. And I don't know whether we would be procedurally correct to go with this proposed motion minus the committee and even the minister in charge of local government in place. Because I remember in the last parliament I was on this committee, and we really talked a lot as far as the elections of the local lower government is concerned. Even what came before Parliament this afternoon about the elections of new districts, we sat down with the responsible ministries, finance, local government, and including even public service to try to eye on this and handle this problem. So I would really think that the minister must first come and tell this Parliament something, and even the minister in charge of electoral commission should also, constitutional affairs, should also come and inform this House so that we can see how we can help our sister. I would propose Tuesday how we can help our sister to move with this thing. I'm concerned about the procedure, Madam Speaker.
Oh, no, I don't know whether we cannot propose a postponement of those interim elections. Because that's the problem. Where do I go? Where do I remain? Yes.
Madam Speaker, I don't know whether we can pass a law in retrogression so that after first, retrospectively, yeah, that after first, the chairman will be allowed to make that choice, because they are supposed to make a choice on the first when the districts are supposed to come into effect.
That's what I was proposing, that Kantua's House proposed to the Electoral Commission to postpone that their election for about a fortnight so that we can deal with this situation. So that they don't, okay, first of July is important, but it's not a magic date. The cow will be there, the others will be there, maybe the political head will not be there. For a fortnight, Honorable Minister of Finance, you can see the quagmire of democracy.
Yeah, Madam Speaker, we do understand the urgency of this issue, but at the same time we must do it properly, because even if we pass the law today, it has to be assented to by the President. So I think what you are suggesting is more practical, that this issue, as we wait to handle this matter properly, we can have administrative arrangements to stand in the gap. And therefore, we are going to go back and sit and see what administrative arrangements we can put in place so that we wait for the chairperson of the committee and we debate this bill properly like any other bill. Thank you.
So, do you agree that we request the Electoral Commission not to conduct this election on the 1st? 3rd of July?
Madam Speaker, they don't conduct elections on the 1st, but the effect of the districts coming into force.
Yes, the district can come into force, but do we have to have the leadership on the 3rd?
No.
Yeah. The boundaries have been determined by law. The boundaries have been, what has not been determined is who is going to stand where or who is going to remain where. I think that's the issue. Can that wait until we have... Yes, Honorable Makuyu.
Right, Honorable Speaker, I read the roadmap this morning, and we are talking of Monday, 3rd July.
To do what?
To elect the interim chairpersons for the new districts. So it's Monday, by Electoral Commission.
No, but...
Speaker.
Yes, Honorable Nambesha.
Madam Speaker, I concur. I concur with your guidance to hold this election is already the roadmap by the Electoral Commission to avoid the challenges of retrospective legislation. Because in the event that the political leaders in the newly created or the original mother district would want to exercise the option of either transferring services to the new one or remaining in this one, the old mother district, in the absence of the law, there will be a big challenge. So it is better to go with the guidance that you have given. You give some duration of time as the law is put in place to enable this challenge of retrospective legislation, not to
Madam Speaker, already in the budget, the releases are going to be made for the new districts. And if these new districts are not having leadership, it's going to be a
No,
crisis.
there's an accounting officer. Really, the chairman does not is not an accounting officer. There is a cow. I don't know whether in this list of Mr. Makanis, the cows of the new districts have been appointed, have they?
Madam
So there is an accounting officer.
Madam Speaker, I happen to be neighboring in Misindwa, the newly created district. The accounting officer has already been transferred and posted, and even the staff under him, they have shared with the original local government and the new one.
So, Honorable Babahati, what we are proposing is just a temporary halt to the political arrangement, because I may want to go to a new district, but I'm not in position because the law is not there to allow me to move. So we are saying, can we hold it for a fortnight? And during that time, we expeditiously handle this bill, and people can elect where they want to go. There is a problem. Honorable, that's the motion which Honorable Mutonyi brought.
Yes, I haven't got the assurance yet that the chairman who wants to cross over to the new district will be allowed to do so after we start. Is he going to be in
I think that's what we are trying to do. We are trying to make it possible for them to move, but not on the 3rd, because we are not ready. So can we hold that arrangement until a fortnight? We deal with this law, but of course the cow will be there, the accounting officer will be there, and the staff, those will be there. You are not comfortable?
Yeah. Madam Speaker, I do agree, but I was suggesting that yes, we have seen the challenge, but if you can give us the opportunity to look at how best we can address it administratively, even after consulting the Attorney General, so that it is done properly, because we might not know whether all the districts are affected or whether we are going to be handling a few districts. So by tomorrow, we shall have a meeting, interministerial meeting, and then handle this issue administratively as we wait for Parliament.
Can I ask you to invite Honorable Mutonyi to attend the meeting? Because she has been championing the cause of the people who are not sure where to go.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, ma'am.
What time will it be?
It will be at 10. We will hold it at the Ministry of Finance.
Okay. Honourable members, I want to thank you for the work.
Madam Speaker.
On what? Yes. Mike.
Thank you, Right Honourable Speaker. Mine is on an earlier matter which you referred to the Committee of Fiscal Infrastructure. It has come to my knowledge that the current chairperson of the Fiscal Infrastructure Committee was the chairperson of the Contracts Committee in the Ministry of Works that actually gave SGS the contract. So in this particular matter, I am worried there could be conflict of interest. I would request you to guide us on this particular matter.
I have asked my legal office to check on that issue, but if it is true, obviously he will not be in a position to chair the committee. There is a vice chair. There is a vice chair. Hmm? Yeah, you know, our rules are also clear. If you have a conflict of interest, you declare it and step aside. So let's see what happens next week.
Madam Speaker, even the Minister herself was a member of the panel that awarded the contract. She was actually the chairperson of that panel that awarded the contract to SGS.
Then she will be a witness. Okay, honourable members. What is happening in Busia?
Right, Honourable Speaker, I was suggesting I wish you will have a...
Yes, Honourable Macho.
Right, Honourable Speaker, I was proposing I wish we can have a special select committee because I see among the people who are supposed to handle this case, many are really interested partners. Thank you, Right, Honourable Speaker.
You are saying?
Right, Honourable Speaker, I was suggesting that since, as per the information of my colleagues, most of the people whom you have directed to handle this issue seems they have smoke where there is firewood. I wish you direct and we have a new selective committee to handle that matter. Thank you, Right Honourable Speaker.
Okay, we shall come back. I will give our ruling next week. Thank you very much, and the members' house adjourned to Tuesday next week at 2 p.m.